Sir, can you hear me nice and loudly now, nice and clear now? Let me know in the chat on the left hand side. Remember, these RC Coffee Chats are recorded live, so we are to expect the odd screw up along the way. So apologies for the audio issue there. I'll just pop it in the chat. Can you hear me okay? Brilliant. So I am going to assume that that's working, and obviously apologies for that. Like I said, these RC Coffee Chats are... Yeah, I forgot the mic. These RC Coffee Chats are recorded live. I've just put the chat going on in the background. Yay! Brilliant. Yes, can now. If no sound, refresh the page. Brilliant. Right. So with that said, let's get into today's topics. Number one, which is probably about the most important topic of today's RC Coffee Chat, is that we just had the weekend. So what I would like you to do is post not only the model which you flew on the weekend, which one was your favourite model which you flew this weekend. Let us know in the chat, which goes along with this live episode. And we'll go back and review them. Now, do note, if you are watching the recorded version, you can still join in. Do pop a comment underneath this episode with the model which you flew this weekend and why was it your favourite model out of all the models which you flew. And do let us know in the comments section underneath this video. Right, so with that said, we are going to discuss racking. I've started laminating the Cloud's fuselage as well, which is actually going okay, but we'll get onto that one in a moment. HobbyKing have released half an Overlord, literally half an Overlord, and two other channels for you to take a look at as well. One of them, I'm sure that you've already seen before, but another one potentially that you haven't, which I actually really enjoyed one of Andre's episodes, so a shameless plug for Andre as well. And I can see the chat in there. I did a live stream of audio only. Oops a daisy. Jeff, if you need a hand setting up OBS, I'll be more than happy to walk you through it. It is really, really simple to do. But as I found out, there's two settings which don't match each other. And if they don't match, then you get no video, which is really frustrating. So Jeff, if you need a hand, ping me on FaceBalls afterwards and I'll give you a hand. Dead simple to do. So... do let me know which models which you flew over the weekend. I did see the WingWing Z-84 going through there in the chat. Now, honestly, the WingWing Z-84, and in fact, let me go and get it so if I can just quickly Google WingWing Z-84. If I can type this morning. Images. There we go. Let's pop that up on the screen. And now I've been lost the chat. And let me move that to one side. The WingWing Z-84 is one of those models which are... It's just a model which is... It just belongs in the top 10 of all models ever created. It's a Jackal and Hyde of models. You can fly it bonkers fast. You can fly it slow. It will take 3S. It will take 4S. Yeah, such a little robust model, and you've not really owned one until you've owned at least two after stuffing the first one in. Bonkers little model. You can even set them up for FPV. I'm sure we'll have a... Yeah, look, we've got people up here setting them up here in the background. I've set three of mine up now for FPV. The first one I did line of sight, and then I converted to FPV. There's a video on my channel about doing that. Then the second one, which I had... yeah, poor thing. And the new one which I've got here, that's also being set up for FPV as well, for some medium range, fast fun, put it that way. So I've got like an X8R out in the wing, and I've got a run cam sat on the front, and I put the receiver on the opposite wing, and we'll be running her on 4S. And it is going to be bonkers fast. And I have this time learned from my mistakes, which is that if you do fly the little WingWing Z-84s fast, is that you do need decent quality servos in them. Cool beans. Right, so a quick look. Z-84, yeah. Turbo Tyler. I completely agree with you. It is one of my favourite models of all time. It's right up there. That's for sure. Let's have a quick look. Kit Foam SU27 from AliExpress. Been too windy this weekend. Been indoor flying with a tiny whoop. Happy days. Yeah, the cat. And again, remember I'm doing a long-term review on this one. And yeah, the cat hears it and he's gone. He really doesn't like to be chased with a little small quad around the house. Bless him. Oh wow, Lauren, nothing flying tomorrow or today in your neck of the woods. Yeah. Oh, we do have good news that the weather this week here in the United Kingdom has got an awful lot calmer. Well, at least down towards Bristol. We've got sensible wind conditions, so this week we should get some flying in. That's going to be happy days. Yeah, 78 Z-84 is one word. So, oh, brilliant. Happy days on your one back there, Jeff. I've seen it in there in the background. They are bonkers fun. Oh, and Jeff, massive tip for you. You do not need a lot of aileron movement in the Wombat. Mine on high rates is unbelievably wild. In fact, I still need to go into my transmitter and tone everything down. It is just too crazy. You saw the wind conditions I was flying in, and I still had too much movement. It was bonkers, and I spent most of it flying around on low rates, and I need to take those low rates even lower so that I can cope with just the speed which that thing does. Absolutely mental. Realm themselves, he did 45 kilometers in one trip on his Z-84. I quite well believe it. Extremely efficient frame of that model in there. What drivetrain are you running, Matt? Mark, was that for the Z-84? Mark, I am going to assume that question was around the Z-84, so it would be a Turnigy D28, 26, 2200 kV motor. Great on 3S, just for 3S fun. It even works fine on 2S as well. You can stack up two 1000 packs and stick those in the nose, and they will get the C of G correct. Oh, massive tip for the Z-84 is that you do make it just slightly nose heavy, because otherwise it has a dirty trait of dropping a wing on you, and the way you get past that is just just make it slightly nose heavy. So yeah, Turnigy D28, 26, 2200 kV motor, brilliant combo on a 6x4 prop. Yeah, brilliant. Ernesto says, too windy to fly my WR Toys F959. They are really cool. I've seen those. Tiny wings, sort of the Explorer, because the Phantoms, oh yeah, they do hate wind. Is it live yet? I've managed to see him. Let's quick look. Defcon Maiden tomorrow. Yay! At last, Lauren. At last. Cool wings. Right. So I'm just going to move the chat over there on the left-hand side. Hey, and Flying Amobo, welcome to the live chat. Brilliant. Just saw Robert's comment in there. Yeah, safe end of the weather was pants as well. Yeah, shame about the weather this weekend. Right, I did get some racking up in the office yesterday. And let me get a photograph of that, and I'll put that out on the screen. So I have just a little bit of racking now. Let me just go and iron. I bought this from a website, and it's not an affiliate website or anything like that, affiliate link or anything like that. I'll pop it in the live chat. It's called Ironmongery Direct. And it's a UK-based company, and that's where I bought my racking from. It was only the cheap stuff, and all the stuff which I got 4 2-meter pieces and a load of little hangers, all for 50 quid. And I thought, to be frankly honest, I felt that was an absolute bargain, because it meant that I didn't need to go and do any woodwork. So go and sell out, find a piece of wood, put it in the drill press, and then put the dowels in to make a wing rack to go in and do all the measurement. And basically I saved myself probably about best part of 6 or 7 hours, because I probably would have then gone on and then painted them as well. Whereas this solution was just dirt simple. It does help that when we put the ceiling in, the ceiling is actually straight, so we had that to work off. In fact, I think we're about 2 millimeters out by that side, so perfectly acceptable. I've got one shelf in across the top at the moment, but I do need to take it back down and then take about 2 inches off the end, because it is just too big in there. And then I'll make up some shelves over the course of this week and get some models up off the ground. And you'll see me, I've just stuck 2 Texumos in there to rest just to see if they'd sit in there all right. But at the moment, the vast majority of the models are all just sat here underneath there on the floor, and I do need to get them up. And I have, unfortunately, earmarked 2 models which need to go. I've got a Cessna and a AXN Cloud Surfer which needs to go, like literally a brand new one, which needs to find a new home. And the Cessna is what I use to pass my BMFA A-test in, and I've not flown it in months, so if it's not going to get flown, then it needs to go, in short. So I need to go and find a new home for that one somewhere. I don't know what to do with it at the moment. Flies great, I just don't fly it. It's got landing gear, so if I continue to fly it, then it won't last very long. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. And apologies, I haven't seen your chat here in the background. Outflying my FT flight test Spitfire today and had a blast. Yeah, I bet that was really good fun. Yeah, and Realms, that racking is the business. Super straightforward. As far as the cutting goes, I just put it on the plunge saw and cut it super straightforward. And you haven't got a plunge saw, just a hacksaw will cut it up. Just take it steady with it. Yeah, Robert, yeah, every man needs a man cave, that's for sure. Mine doubles up as my daily office as well. So, and H, which you see parts of work which comes out on the YouTube channel with models and stuff, she works next to me during the day as well. Happy days. Right, next topic. So we spoke about the racking. I don't have any photos of this, but you know the clouds. I have put the first sheet on the fuselage. That's gone down really, really well. And I've done the bottom little hatch and I've done the top hatch as well. Today, my goal is to go on and get the nose area of the fuse covered and then down onto the bottom half of the wings. Now, a massive tip for you, those of you who are starting out laminating, not only just test on a spare bit of foam, just to make sure you got the temperature right, and you know they got the temperature right because it takes you a good couple of circles before it actually sticks. So mine on my little iron is only on medium setting, and then just keep the iron moving at all times. And I always start at the back, the underside of the model, and start at the back and work forwards, and then you turn her over, and then you start from the back and work forwards. That's for like a traditional size model. If it's a flying wing, you start at the bottom, put that piece in, turn it back over, and then do the top. That's the process. And the reason why you do the top last is because any sheet like coming over the wings, you want to wrap it around a good like ½ inch around the front as well. And also because if you start at the back of a model, any seams are facing that way, not that way. So any dirt and water won't get into those seams, so the laminate stays on there for much, much longer. And just keeping an eye on the live chat in the background. Gordon says, what type of iron do you have? It's just a HobbyKing one. HobbyKing Synergy iron. I think that's the right one. It's just one of those. I'll put it on the screen for you, and I'll put a link in the chat. Obviously, do check the plug on the end. That's got a UK plug on it. Works absolutely brilliantly, and ironically, I ended up with 2. I bought one, thinking I was going to do some laminating in sometime in the future, and then I bought a load of models and whatnot in a sale, and yeah, I ended up with 2. So yeah, they're really good. To give you a little heads up on both of them, the front point up here on the sock which comes with them, because you're using the end, the very fine point of the iron, is the sock does wear out very quickly on the end, and that's just because it gets used loads. That's the bit which gets used most. Realm says, Matt, can you do a laminate episode? I'd love to see how it's done firsthand. Actually, Realms, I was actually thinking is that I've got a WingWing Z-84 here which I'd like to laminate, and I was going to do it live. No idea how long that episode will take, but I was just going to do it live. We'll just stick it on the bench and we'll just start at the beginning, and it takes however long it takes to get it done. I do need to do a little bit of the electronics for it. Maybe an idea for later this week, if you're up for that. So yeah, and again, I think that's a really good idea, because Realms, you're not the only person which is asked for a laminating tutorial. I do also want to do my Phantom FX79, but it's just too big to do on the desk and try and have a camera and stuff going on at the same time. So I'll do a live episode on that one, I think. And again, because I don't mind sharing my screw-ups live, and you get to see what I'm doing. So you might not be able to see any of like the close-ups and things like that, but you'll get the general gist of what I'm doing and my approach to the actual laminating as well. So yeah, it's a good idea for a video. Yeah, absolutely. There are videos out there on it already, but it is super straightforward. Super straightforward. So yeah, good call on that one. Right, next topic, we have half of an Overlord, which is kind of curious. And Jeff, you've actually owned an Overlord or had one at one point. What was it like in reality? Excuse me. What was it like in reality? Because they've been released half a version, which is, if you compare this to the... It's still sat here, and there's sand everywhere on my desk. I don't remember. I stuck that in the cement mixer, which was a FR632. That's the one which I use on the flight line with a clover leaf and a IOM away antenna, and it works absolutely brilliantly. Never had an issue with it with the new one, and that one, nuts. So they have been released a half an Overlord. And I was more curious about the bottom of it for the mounting, which does look like it's just a standard, what's it, 3/4 or whatever it is, camera main, which you can mount it up on a pole or whatever to do it. And I did also like that if you look closely, number one, it does come with a bag, and also you do have 2 AV outs as well. So potentially able to share your signal, maybe one going into a DVR recorder and one going to your goggles, for example. Happy days. It's been on been done on radar, right? What, chasing helium balloons for FPV? Yeah. Yeah, bulky when you're used to just wearing goggles. Yeah, I agree with you that, Jeff. By the way, I'll just put the chat back on the screen. Is that I do agree with you, is that you've got a tripod next to you. You've got your diversity receiver sat on the side of it, and then you've got cable coming from the diversity receiver down to the side of your goggles. But to be frankly honest, when we sat there, I just sit there in the chair. I'm shock horror. I will drag out a fold-up chair out to the flight line, and it's like luxury on the flight line. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. You can sit there and you get to enjoy the experience. So whether you're flying in and out of trees or pottering around, whatever you're doing, sat there in a chair enjoying the FPV experience. Absolutely fantastic. And because you've got a far superior antenna on there, you've got the clover for close range, and then you point the plate antenna at the area, general area of where you're going to be flying, and you get fantastic signal strength or reception quality on the goggles for it. Yeah, one AV for goggles and one AVR to the DVR monitor. Yeah, really cool. And that does also mean that you save some of the battery life in your fat charts as well, because it does seem to go down. You get about half the battery life in it if you're recording on DVR at the same time. And yes, Lauren, I agree with you. Chairs are a must. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of luxury on the flight line. Get one of Ron's flight chairs for full immersion. Yeah, that would be crazy stuff. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. It does mean the price point's more sensible. I did also spot this morning this as well. Now I'll pop this in. This will be in the show notes at the end. We'll pop it in the live chat as well. Those of you which are into APM, that did seem very cool, because it's not like the original 433 kit. This has also got Bluetooth in there as well, so that means that then can go on and communicate to your iPad. So for Mission Planner, for example, I did think that was super cool. Probably only available in from China, but very cool. And I'll put a link to that in the video description at the end as well for you. Now the last 2 topics which we have for this morning is got into bed last night, saw that Andrew just been and posted up the Zeta FX79, which is the Buffalo build. I think I typed in yay into the comments, meaning to then go back and write something meaningful, and that Andrew is there somewhere. The model is just absolutely huge. and promptly went to sleep. So yeah, we'll be seeing the Andrew with the Buffalo out at some point in the future. No idea where he's going to be flying. Well, he's put a motor in the back, so I assume we'll probably see him maiden off the flight line. Whether he goes on to fly slopes or it, if he goes on to FPV it, nobody knows. But a model literally of that size is crazy huge, and it's just going to be a big floaty model which you can pack shed loads of battery in it. And I have been personally really tempted by the Buffalo. The reason why I've not been and bought it is because my Phantom FX79 has done just so well. I don't see the requirement for another bigger wing like this. Yeah, so anyway, we've got the Clouds instead now, and it's got 2 motors. Happy days, happy days. I'm just reading the comments here in the background. Right, and somebody else's channel, which I found mainly because it came up as a suggested video when I was looking at the EFX Extra. Now, apparently there is an update for the EFX Extra on the HobbyKing YouTube channel. Haven't seen that one yet, so I'll go and have a nose at that one. I will put a link to Andre's video. I really enjoyed Andre's episode on there. I really did. So if you haven't seen one of his yet, go and have a watch of that video. I really enjoyed it. I genuinely did. So, yeah, if you've not come across Andre before, happy days. I'm just trying to work my way back through his previous episodes at the moment. So, yeah, thank you, Andre, for posting lots and lots of episodes. I've now got to work my way all the way back to the beginning. Thanks, fella. I'm just reading here the comments in the background. Jeff, your FX79 will be in you're going to get a Buffalo. Brilliant. Brilliant. I do love my Phantom to bits. It's absolutely fantastic. And if I think out of the flight time of all my models, that model right now has probably had the most amount of flight time, bar the AXN, which I learnt to fly in. So, yeah, for time in the air, that one probably has had the biggest amount, the longest amount of time in the air. Absolutely brilliant. The Phantom's huge, but I did glue the wings on, so it is just one great big wing. But happy days on you getting your FX79. Brilliant. Andre said, yeah, flying, I agree with you. Andre does a great channel. We still got the Sky Shadow to build. Can't wait to fly it. Oh, yes. An update on the Sky Shadow. As many of you know, that the Sky Shadow is now moving on. I have made a goodbye episode to the Sky Shadow, which is a bit ironic because it's just that people are just starting doing build videos on it. So I will be doing a goodbye episode on that, and I will also get a build episode out as well. I did start editing that one about 3 weeks ago, or just after it came, and I did the build, but then I got all the audio knocked out of sync, so I've given it to the video editor now and going, well, do your best, and if you don't get on with that one, just start again afresh. So it is about an hour long episode, so we'll see that one at some point in the future. Also waiting on the glue from the US. Yeah, Gordon, I presume you've gone for some goop glue for it. It did work out really, really well. I do have a sat here next to you. One little modification tip for you is that, can you see that line there and then that line there? Do put a piece of carbon rod through that piece on either side, because that was the one weakness which I found with the 2 joints back on here. There's not enough meat on the foam here at the back for it to glue properly on there, so a couple of bad landings and it will end up cracking. So just put a piece of slit in, scrape up a carbon rod, put it in, and make sure you put plenty of glue in there as well, and that should solve it. So I did that to the model before she goes on to her new home. Bruce is less than thrilled with it. Yeah, I do have a couple of comments around that with I bought the kit version, so I didn't have any issues at all. I also have a comment around stabilizers in there as well, which I just don't feel it needs it at all. It just doesn't need it. It was a really nice touch. It was probably one of the first models like Flying Wings to come out with a stabilizer in it, but it's just an extra added layer of complexity. Yeah, I've half seen Bruce's episode with it. I also did see that it didn't actually glue on the wings as well. He just taped them up, which I thought was actually kind of a cool idea. It does make it more transportable. And thank you. There's the video ID, which Zeb was putting in. Let's see if I can get that loaded up. And remember, this is recorded live, so unlike the previous versions where I was looking these up. There we go. I'll put a link. I can post that link in there, Zeb. There we go. I'll put a link to that video in the video description for you. When was that one posted? 12th of January. So this video there, and I'll put a link to it in the video description for you. That was apparently got an update around the EFX Extra as well, which I must own. So I'm really, really looking forward to that one coming out. I really am. Brilliant. Contacted you. Happy days. Happy days. I did try and use the Yoo-Hoo Power on the S800, and it just didn't glue at all. The cracks just came back undone again. So yeah, not the best. So don't use the Yoo-Hoo Power. Yoo-Hoo Pour is probably fine, but I did use Goop plumbing glue with mine as well. Jim says, morning Matt from Bonnie, Scotland. We appreciate a demo of how to provide power to an FPV camera. Just not sure about UBEX, etc. I will be making a dedicated like a map proof or Jim proof guide to FPV in the very near future, and we will go through the basics because it is actually super straightforward to do, but I know there's a lot of confusion around this, and there doesn't need to be, because it all just boils down to 3 wires. Simple as that. Simple as that. Yeah, Gordon, I personally will never use iNav again. I've had too many bad experiences with that. And by the way, Gordon, if you're thinking about putting a flight, yeah, you don't really need stabilization in that wing at all, unless you intend doing other things with it. That's happy days. Hey ho, Queens. Right, time for us to wrap up. In summary, I asked about what models you were flying on the weekend, and we got sidetracked by the WingWing Z-84. That was a good sidetrack. Fantastic model. Absolutely fantastic model. We've got the racking up in the office now. We do need some shelves for it to go on there. And as I noted, there are 2 models which are going to be making their moves very shortly because they're not getting flown. They need to go, in short. I've started laminating up the clouds, like the main fuselage. I've also come to the... Andrew was actually here yesterday. Instead of using barbecue skewers, I'm going to use a thin piece of carbon fibre long... Or not carbon fibre. I'm going to use some glass fibre because it's got no properties to it which will add interference or whatever to it. And I'll put glass fibre down with some heat shrink tubing over the cables so that on the flight line, when I got the 2 wings, is that I'll have the cables coming out the bottom of the wingtips. And then because I've got a piece of not carbon, glass fibre rod down it, is that I can then use that to poke through the servo wires or the connectors down through the main part of the fuse out, so they pop out in the hold area and then connect them up there. That gets me past having connectors in the wing at the join, and I still get my items, the receiver and the video transmitter, out on the wings as well. Very simple. I like that a lot. And then we'll just use a bit of tape or something for when we're when it's in transport, just to hold the wires up. Nice and simple to getting the model to the flight line. Make it relatively easy for on the flight line as well. And I'll also print out some of those little labels as well, so it's just completely map proof. I can't screw it up at a later date, so I know which wires do which, and then we'll just keep the number of connectors down to a minimum as well. So yeah, happy days with that. We had the HobbyKing Half Overlord, which looks pretty cool. I'm not too sure about the extra signal strength, which you would get like compared, well, you get like another 30 degrees or whatever on there. Personally, for less money, you can just get a straightforward diversity receiver, and to be frankly honest, that has done me really well. But I am not a quad pilot or knife flyer, but I do fly in and out of trees all of the time. You've seen the video evidence, and I'm normally fine with just a normal decent quality clover leaf, or if I'm on the flight line and I've got the DVR set up, the diversity receiver set up, then I'll use that as well. Just point it towards the main block of trees which I'm going to be flying through, and it works brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. The other topics where we did have Andrew Newton's FX79 build. Apologies, Andrew. I did mean to go back and type a comment on a follow-up for that one, and I have not watched it fully yet. It does seem really, really straightforward to build, and happy days. It's going to be really curious to see what you're going to be doing with it. And also a plug for Andre's channel as well. I really enjoyed that episode. I genuinely did. So, and you can see on my screen, I subscribed because I thought it was really cool. So happy days on that one. And I am working my way back through other of Andre's episodes as well. And let me just quickly go back to the chat. Let's go quick there. Just see if I've missed anything. Yes, you've got your 800 props shipped for $20 from Banggood. Canyon Racer, happy days. Go and smash some props up on that one with that lot then. That's like a lifetime's supply of propellers. Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Right, and on that note, it's time for me to go. As always, a shameless plug for the Facebook group. If you would like to join in with the chat after this episode, remember that you can go across to Facebook, and I'll put a link to the Facebook group in the video description for you. It's facebook.com/groups/rag-the-nuts-off. There are now over 400 fellow pilots like me and you on there. So if you get stuck, if you've got a question, you want to ask me a question, pop it in the Facebook group. It's the best place for it, because the irony here is there are a lot more experienced pilots out there than myself, and they like collectively as a group, the knowledge and the help which is there is all available to you for free in the Facebook group. So shameless plug for the Facebook group. And if you are not already subscribed, underneath this video where it says Matthew Ogborn, click on the red button, click on that one, and then if you click on the little notify icon, which is a little bell, you'll be notified at the moment or the instant I upload another episode. So with that said, from myself, Matt, thank you ever so much for joining me for today's RC coffee chat. And it's time for me to go. If you're out flying today, have a fantastic day. If you're not out flying, hey, maybe it's time to prep a model for tomorrow. Hopefully. So on that note, from myself, Matt, thank you ever so much for joining me. See you again tomorrow. Cheerios!